All right. I hear the music. It can only mean one thing. It's Friday, and it's time for the Friday Forum. Once again, to all who are in our forum, in our TEFLPros Teacher Garden, welcome, welcome. To those of you listening on the YouTube and across all of our various streaming platforms, welcome to another Friday Forum. My name's Dave, CEO, president of TEFLPros, and it's wonderful to have you guys here. I know 2 weeks ago I said I'd be on last week. However, once again, February was just work and travel. Just, I'm here and there, I'm everywhere. And last week, literally just for like a weekend, we went to this small town just outside of where I live called Liberec. And in Liberec, they have this place called Babylon. I definitely recommend checking out. It's like this kingdom palace for children to play in. So think of like a fun arcade from, when we were kids in the 90s, mixed with like a bunch of play areas for little kids. Like maybe if you're in the USA, like a Discovery Zone or like an old Chuck E. Cheese, something like that. But also connected to that is like a 4-floor, almost a science center with all of these kinesthetic learning devices in it, all mashed together with a hotel, several restaurants, this open area. Like this thing was like the size of a Walmart, and it had this almost like community, like pick your location element about it. It was so cool. It was a lot of fun, but man, those with kids know anywhere you put lots of children, it's going to be like a biological factory. And of course, the germs found their way to me, and I spent the better part of the last week not feeling 100% from that. But I think little groggy yesterday. Took an extra kick to get out of bed today, but I think we're back in the game. So no worries on that. But here we are. Glad to be back. Glad to be with you guys. So before we jump into our conversation topic today, just some quick updates. A lot of new media is coming out to the point where I need to organize it a little bit better. I'm coupling that also with a lot of the feedback and requests I'm getting from a lot of our students and a lot of our teachers in our teacher garden, where around these conversations we have a really cool Q&A where everyone kind of gets to share their stories. I don't record it because a lot of that stuff is very intimate, and not everyone is trying to put their stuff out there into the YouTube world, which is absolutely understandable, especially in this day and age of social media and whatnot. So a lot of them, just with the amount of time we have, a lot of them have said that they want to have more time for Q&A and sharing stories and stuff like that. When I kind of have to say, hey, we're going to go into recorded conversation Friday Forum mode. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to cut back on these, and I think maybe just have 1 or 2 forums over the course of the month. Not that we're not going to have meetings. We're going to have meetings in our teacher garden every single Friday, same as we always do. But I'm only going to be doing recorded sessions for YouTube and the podcast channels and stuff like that, probably once, twice a month, depending on what other content we have to release that month. Which does bring me to the other side. It's not like we're slowing down with what we're putting out. We're actually speeding up. However, it's just going to be a little bit more diverse. David Cantu and I had a great conversation a few weeks ago. I still haven't put the darn thing out yet. It's going to come up probably next week, I'm guessing, where we talk about AI in the teaching world. It's a conversation that everyone is having. anyone in the ESL world, anyone in the TEFL world, or maybe even everyone in the teacher world is talking about how AI has just burrowed its way into just about every, not everything we do, but it has become a cornerstone of what we do, whether it's writing emails, whether it's producing content, whether it is scheduling social media, things like that. It's definitely something that's become very, very prevalent over the last few years, which of course you're probably listening, going, no duh. We know, Dave. But we have a really cool conversation about kind of our perceptions on it, where it's going, where it's coming, the fallout from it. Just from, like I said, two guys who are kind of in these ecosystems of language, language instruction, business ownership, things like that. I think it should be. It'll be a pretty. That should be. It already took place. It's a great conversation. Did I say I'm not sick? I might still be, pestilence ridden. So either way, I got a good one for that. So I'm gonna have more multifaceted content. So maybe just once a month on our YouTube channels and podcasts, you'll probably hear my melodious voice, and then I'm gonna kind of mix it up and get a few more elements into our content and whatnot. Of course, with smaller reels and shorts and stuff like that. Great graduate interview came out this week with Ashley. Very eloquent speaker, and she hit so many valid points with that interview. It was great talking to her. I'm gonna see, maybe down the road we can talk to her a little bit more about where she is in her journey, because it's very interesting. All those interviews are pretty short, 10-15 minutes. If you want to give them a listen to, they're all on our YouTube channel, and there's links to most of them across all of our social media platforms. So that's kind of where we are right now. Just kind of diversifying things, moving along in different directions, moving the business in a different direction. I had a conversation with a promoter yesterday that they put a little idea bug in my ear, and I'm gonna give that a couple months of thought and see where that goes. But if I have to put a recorded timestamp on when that idea began, here we are, the 7th of March. I had that conversation, I think, 2 nights ago, Wednesday night. I had that conversation, and I need to hash it out a little bit more. I need to put a little bit more methodology to it and just think about it. So I'm like Immanuel Kant. I'm just gonna walk around Podobrady thinking, and hopefully something comes from that, because it's got the makings of a really cool idea, and the person I talked to is tied to some pretty heavy hitting distribution and media sources. So we'll see. Like I said, if this idea that I'm being very aloof about or aloof over, we'll see if it has any weight to it, but I think it should. I just have to run it past a couple more channels, see what happens. But we all know in the business world, you don't speak on things or what they are until they exist, because then that's kind of like, it's cursing it. It's hexing the business idea. So either way, that those are all the updates. And, I'm sorry if you're just casually listening here, you missed my voice and I just took you through a lot of blah, blah, company notes, stuff like that. But I just wanted to get it out there. So, if you see things kind of lightening up across channels as far as a type of video or you see more of another video, you'll kind of know where they come from. Like I said, we're trying to free up some space here. This is also tax season in the Czech Republic, so it's a little crazy here because I have an agency that helps with tax assistance for foreigners as well. So we're all doing something. This is why we get together and talk at 9 o'clock on a Friday night. This is our time. So I guess let's get into our chit chat now. Let's talk about what's been going on. So, oh, excuse me. I think the inspiration I drew for our talk today, uh, a lot of it actually came from, I guess, a lot of the emails I've been getting over the last, I would say, couple of months, we'll say, and I'm sure a lot of you know where this is heading. Um, and I'm not going to put politics into this forum. It's everywhere. And I prefer it not to be here, at least at this point in time, on this forum. If you want political thought and opinion, ugh, it's all out there, and it's inescapable, and that's not really my vibe. So I do have gotten emails, both through the visa agency, and through, of course, the TEFL program. And, uh, you know, very interested people and very interested part on, wanting to take the course, wanting to move, at least with the visa agency. We only work with Czech Republic. So wanting to move to Czech Republic. But it's interesting that the vibe now and the conversation, uh, it's taken such a dramatic change than from what it has been, over the last, I guess, 8 years that I've been doing this, that people now speak on, leaving somewhere as opposed to arriving somewhere. It's a sense of, I do not like where I am. I wish to go to somewhere that I see as better, safer, more emotionally sound, things like that. And I perceive to be wherever that is as better than where I am, which I think is okay. A motivation is a motivation, right? I mean, sometimes, we sign up for universities because we don't like where we are. Sometimes we'll learn a new skill because we don't like the situation we're currently in. All of those, I remember all those early 2000s, late 90s back to school infomercials that they would play during, like, Maury Povich and the Jerry Springer Show and all those judge shows. It's showing someone who, black and white screen, they're flipping burgers and they're sad. And then suddenly the wind chimes play and it's colorful and there's like this almost uncomfortably happy family. So, out of uncomfortably happy is a thing. Like, I've lived in the Czech Republic. That phrase definitely would fly over here, and that definitely describes my family. But it says, like, hey, do this and your life will be better. Not as something to, just make a life that's already okay better. It's the commercial, the infomercial is meant to, and maybe this is advertising and marketing in general, to convince you that where you are is not good. And that by partaking in this action or taking this course or signing up for this event or buying this product will magically transform your life into, something that isn't what it is. And I think a lot of people who reached out, not all, but enough where it's worth talking about on our forum today, have mentioned it. Even in passing. I've only had a couple people who really kind of they email me like it's a, 6 alarm fire, but it's something that it's almost like the politics of social media itself. It just shows up. It just shows up. It just you might not even be talking about it, and there it is. It chimes in, and I figure this would be a cool time to talk about that. If anything, because there may not be a recording next week, so we can let this marinate. And I beg of you, please do not turn the comment section of this into a heated political debate, because it's on a social media site on the internet. So what's the worst that could happen? Right. Anyways, I would just like to speak on the mentality, not the events themselves, because I think that regardless of what's going on in the world, getting a TEFL certificate, if that's choosing to become an educator, moving around the world to a place where educators are needed, is a very noble thing. And I think a very passionate thing. I think it's something that, to a certain level, takes a lot of guts and sacrifice. You're launching away from all of your comforts. Even if you're going from a westernized country to another westernized country, you are placing yourself in a society where you are, other than the specifics that you offer, a TEFL certificate, things like that, you are strongly disadvantaged. You are now in a society where you can't vote. You're in a society now where there's an anti-immigration party and you're the target. I received, plenty of hate mail myself. Especially with the visa agency, because I'm the immigrant who helps immigrants immigrate, shock, right? I'm the purveyor of all that is evil. You go to a place where the language is not spoken. If you travel solo, like I did, you don't know anyone where you're going. Your safety net is almost non-existent. And you put yourself, of course, at the mercy of those around you who, would seek to take advantage of you by understanding that they have the home field advantage. And I always tell people this, and don't let this discourage you, but it is wildly, it's wildly like, irresponsible, I guess is a good way to put it. Wildly irresponsible to do something such as that, but people do it. And as I've said in previous videos and previous Friday forums, that, it's one of those fortune favors the bold situations. However, one thing that definitely, and I mean massively, plays into the successes of those who do move, is their ability to be focused on moving forward and where they're heading towards, not so much where they're coming from. Because if you move somewhere and you say, haha, I am not in place, great. Fundamentally, nothing has really changed. It's not like, if you don't like a politician, something like that, they've just quit their job because you moved to a different time zone. In social media, unless you move to places which censor social media, which kind of goes back into the political stresses anyways. If, it's all still there. It's, all those things that bug you, that stress you, that, make you uncomfortable, give you a hard time sleeping at night, stuff like that. They're all still there. And I think that's why I think it's very disingenuous And I let my clientele and colleagues know this, that it's not that I'm trying to turn them away. I'm trying to shift the focus to where you're going, what you're trying to accomplish, not, a TEFL certificate and moving abroad, finding a new career is not meant to be a bunch of tied bed sheets thrown out of a prison window. It's meant to be a springboard to propel you, to help you achieve a life that you find meaningful and rewarding. I think that is one of the greatest gifts that being a TEFL instructor has ever given me. Is that I've been given the ability to have an absolutely profound effect on people's lives, which, I wouldn't change for the world. I mean, as the teacher, it's not like, you're balling out, right? Um, you're not making, tons of money or anything, but you are, bringing something positive into the world. You are in a position to create. You're in a position to influence, and you're in a position to, take the skills that you have, that you've learned from your course or that you're bringing with you from your life, and apply it to someone who otherwise wouldn't have it. That's the beauty of the TEFL course, and why I think using it as a tool to create, not as a tool to destroy, in this case, like a past or a sense of destructive surroundings. I think that's where the focus should be. And you get a lot of free reign once you are a TEFL instructor, especially with the right schools behind you, things like that, which you can, of course, use to your benefit, as far as jobs, as far as travel, geographic locations, certain types of cultures, certain types of experiences, being an English instructor, which is, I always compare it to being a bassist. And by the way, I am absolutely not a bassist. I'm a drummer. I'm not a bassist. But being an English teacher, I think, is like a bassist, where it's easy to pick up, it's easy to execute, and it is hard to master. And once you do, it's like poetry to watch. It's like a miracle watching it. If you don't know what I mean, watch some videos of John Mayung from Dream Theater. Probably one of the more ridiculous bassists I've personally seen live or whatnot, from one of my favorite bands. And he's the guy, that's the band that plays over the system right before our conversation starts. But I want to create a sense of focus now, back to the, growing and developing yourself. And it's a lot of times, if you feel, that, maybe elements of the world can be depressing, which I will be the first to tell you they absolutely are. When we started doing visas, that was in 2016. That was when I remember my first refugee crisis was Venezuela, when Maduro came into power. Then shortly after that, we had the Syrian refugee crisis, which took a hold of Europe and just turned everything on its head. We barely got a hold of that and barely got that under control. And then suddenly we had Brexit, where you just had a socio-political upheaval of one of, the top 10 economies of the world, and essentially the largest seat at the EU. And suddenly that turned everything on its head. Then once we got that finally axed out, that took only 5 years to fully go into effect and churn out all the laws from that. Then we had the Ukrainian situation. Um, and that led to another refugee status. And so it was just one thing after the next. And you met people who were just absolutely heartbroken, and people who had to flee their homes, who had to leave their homes, looking for, not something better, something brighter, something that was going to, you know, create, you know, wealth for them and their family. They were looking for sanctuary, no more, no less. Um, by British friends and colleagues. They're trying to figure out exactly, what their world was going to turn into, because they just lost a whole continent. And suddenly they became an island that, at least visa and travel wise, they became very, very isolated. They suddenly didn't have the ability for free mobility and free labor to move amongst, the largest landmass that's closest to them. And that took, I have colleagues and friends that are still trying to make sense of it, getting used to it. So when it comes to taking a TEFL course, relocating around the world, getting your visa, finding your place to live, finding your school, or how you're going to teach, or who you're going to teach, all of these things are best served with you working towards your goals, not away from your fears and away from, what you perceive to be a lesser circumstance. And wonderful things will happen. And if anything else, while you are taking your course, while you're moving, while you're situating, time is going to start flying by. And while you are bettering yourself and becoming a masterful teacher, while you are becoming, acclimated to your new country, all of those problems over time are slowly going to go into the rearview mirror. And in the meantime, you will have a TEFL certificate. You will have, let's call it 4 years of teaching experience, which, you can take anywhere you want. Once you have those years of teaching experience, you have it. You can take that wherever you need to be. Most schools will hire you with 4 years behind you. That's a fair amount of teaching right there. I looked at the qualifications for the schools in downtown Pittsburgh. Not that I was planning on moving back or anything. I was just absolutely curious. And suddenly, Pittsburgh Public Schools, I would actually qualify to be a teacher there. But I don't know if I would want them to have me be a teacher there. I don't think my pedigree and I think my approach to education is more of the fun foreign teacher and not the regimented American classroom teacher. But somehow, some way, after spending all this time over here, you find yourself qualifying for more and more positions around the world that you never even, you're like, oh, I guess I'm qualified for that now. And wonderful things can happen. And then you look back on those years as some of the potentially best years of your life, years where you made a change for yourself and were able to grow and better yourself and bring positivity into the world and help people and influence people to bring more positivity. There's another one. Positivity to those around them. And I think that's one of the best ways you can spend your time, regardless of what's going on in the world. It could be the most peaceful, tranquil, happy time ever. And if you're out there, helping people. You feel good about it. They feel good about it. And those around you are growing and becoming better, smarter, stronger, more capable. You're unstoppable. You're unstoppable. You are, you know, you've ascended to be what the TEFL teacher truly aims to be. You've become the John Mayung of TEFL teachers. So that's my thought today. I'm not going to go too much longer into this one, but I just thought it'd be nice to address, like I said, the something that just keeps on popping up. And like I said, if you do have any questions about the subject matter, or if you want to talk to me personally about it, you can go to our webpage, www.TEFLPros.com. You can email me, david@TEFLPros.com. That's my personal email address. That'll take you right to me with any questions you may have about that. And take our course. Start your journey. Get your mind off stuff. Take this time to focus a little bit more. And we'll be here for you and would love to hear from you. So again, happy Friday, everyone. Hope you had a great week. Hope wherever you are, it's starting to get a little bit warmer. Unless you're in the southern hemisphere, in which case I hope it stays a little bit warm a little bit longer for you guys. And we'll be talking real soon. So until then, take care of yourselves. Talk to you soon. Bye, guys.